Welcome to King Arena. John Mark Mills here with Rusty Lindsay as we prepare for this quarterfinal matchup between the Wheaton Thunder, 1-seeded Wheaton Thunder, and the 8-seeded Millikin. And yeah, Rusty, last time we saw these two teams meet was in January, and it was 2 victories for the Thunder, so we'll see what Millikin's got tonight.
Yeah, this was an interesting game here last time because it was kind of the first of what turned out to be the conference schedule, which is weekend back-to-back. So we took care of business down in Decatur on a Thursday and then came down here and had to grind one out on Saturday. Now these two teams played in the late January, and here we are in early March. So these are two very different versions of these teams as we've seen Wheaton come together to the point where they're now ranked 3rd in the country. So it will be interesting. Millikin's season has gone the other direction. Could come in with just 1 win. So there's some struggles to be had here, but if you're Wheaton, how do you handle the layoff? That's going to be the important thing after they had their last 2 games canceled. And if you're Millikin, can you slow things down enough to kind of ugly this game up, stick around, and give yourself a chance here at the end?
Yeah, and Millikin did just play a few days ago, so that's really one thing we'll have to keep in mind is that Millikin is coming in at least a little bit fresh, although losers of 5 straight as well. They haven't won in a little bit, so we'll see what the Thunder can do against them in this game. And as far as players to watch for, you got Fisher on Millikin, one of their leading scorers, and Akinwumi as far as just, the athleticism and the height that he's got, so that could prove some difficulties for the Thunder.
Yeah, and I think in the past, Millikin's had these kind of athletes in Michael Akinwumi, and he's a guy that if you give him space, he's going to do something special. He's a guy that can jump out of the gym, and we saw it several times throughout the CCIW calendar, is that he's had some top 10 level plays and his ability to elevate, but Wheaton has guys that can match up with him. And then for Wheaton, you got to let your guys be your guys. And the Amiea Dome was great getting to the free throw line in the first matchup. He's 12 of 14 down in Decatur. You got to let your guards play fast. When Wheaton's been at their best, they've been playing open court basketball and letting Tyson Cruikshank and the Amiea Dome get up and down. And Cade Alios kind of just been that rock in the middle to clean up when things don't go down. So if you're Wheaton, you want to speed this game up. And if you're Millikin, you obviously want to slow this down and kind of ugly this up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll get ready to get the game started in just a little bit, and we'll throw it down for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's CCIW tournament matchup between the visiting team and number 8 seed, Millikin University Big Blue, and your home team and number 1 seed, the Wheaton College Thunder. At this time, we ask that you join us in standing for the playing of our national anthem. At this time, we will announce the starting lineups for both teams, alternating, beginning first with the visitors from Millikin University. Starting at guard, a 6'4" freshman, number 5, DeMarcus Bond. For Wheaton, a 6'6" senior forward from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, number 2, Cade Alia. For the Big Blue, a 6'6" junior guard, number 12, Calvin Fisher. For the Thunder, a 6'1" senior hailing from Bartlett, Illinois, starting at guard, number 10, Colin Vegas. For Millikin, a sophomore guard standing at 6'2", number 14, Sam Sticknote. For Wheaton College, A 5'11 junior guard from Highlands, Colorado, number 13, Tyson Kirkshank. For the Big Blue, number 31, a junior guard standing at 6 feet tall, Jake Hampton. For the Thunder, a 6'1 senior guard from Orlando, Florida, number 20, Namie Adum. And for Millikin University, a 6'8 sophomore forward, number 50, Cole Lawrence. For the Thunder, from Little Rock, Arkansas, 6'7 senior forward, number 42, Gavin Hawkins. The Big Blue are coached by Mark Scherer. And the Thunder are coached by Mike Schauer.
Welcome back into this one. Thunder, Big Blue, number 1 versus number 8. We got actually 4 games on tap for today for the quarterfinals of the CCIW tournament. 3 more, 3 total at 2 p.m. and then 1 at 6 p.m. The Thunder, well, the winner of this one will play the winner of number 4 Augustana versus number 5 Carthage. As we get ready to go, the Thunder starting with number 2, Cade Alioth, Vegas, Kirkshank, Adome, and Hawkins as well. I think Hawkins is probably the player that you want to match at Kinwumi as far as like down low inside. He's got the height to match for sure. It's the players fist bump to start this first quarterfinal matchup. Thunder coming in 10-0, undefeated, number 3 in the country. Millikin, the obvious underdogs, but they've shown that they can keep it close. Thunder only beat them by 9 in one of their matches early on in the season, and obviously these teams are very different now as the Thunder win the opening tip-off, and it goes to Adome to start this one. Throws it over to number 10, Uvegis. Now to Crookshank. Crookshank goes inside. Cade Alioth has number 50, Lawrence, on his back. That is an errant pass, but goes out and found by number 42 and goes back over to Adome. Adome with a little shake and bake at the top. Kicks it back out, long three-pointer, released and is good. Good start for the Thunder.
Yeah, this is a matchup on paper that really favors Gavin Hawkins because they're going to send the big guy Cole Lawrence obviously against Cade Alioth in the middle. So when they switch screens, you're going to have guards picking up Gavin Hawkins. So you can really get yourself in favorable matchup sets with the big man Hawkins, and that's what happened. They switched on him. He got picked up by the smaller Sam Stitchnote, and he's able to get the shot up over the top of him pretty easily as the shot clock was running down.
Number 50, Lawrence, now working inside on Hawkins. 2 big guys working down low. Now this is a 3 released. That one's well off the mark and get a shot clock violation there as that ball didn't touch the rim, and it'll go back to the Thunder. Good opening defensive possession from them.
And it'll surprise nobody, but I'm sure Coach Schauer would tell you the thing he's most pleased with his team is their defense. And when they've needed to go on the road and get wins, their defense has really been what's led to their offense, especially when you think of that game up at Carthage where they really had to grind to get that W, especially down the stretch. And you see it early, defense hounding balls out on the perimeter, and now leading the offense the other way for Hawkins.
Adome with a great pass right to the corner for Hawkins, who buries the wide open 3, 2 for 2. 3-pointers for Hawkins to start this one off.
Gavin Hawkins is the linchpin between Wheaton being a very good team and a great team. If Hawkins can consistently hit those shots, they're a really tough team to match up against given their guard play.
That's Sticknote going down inside for Calvin Fisher, leading scorer for this Big Blue team, and now it's Cole Lawrence, little jousting inside, a nice turnaround fadeaway shot from him to get Millikin on the board.
Good patience from Cole Lawrence. A lot of times you see the big man, when they can't move a guy, they panic a little bit. The feet get edgy, they just throw something up off the backboard. Good patience to feel where the opening was and realize he had room to turn around and get a jumper off.
Hawkins hangs it off to Crookshank. Up top for Alioth, who drops it off to Adome, who takes a long step back 3 and buries the Thunder 3 for 3 early.
Yeah, and you saw what Millikin's plan is. When they switch that, they're going to dive down with the guard, and you're playing with fire there because they almost left Crookshank too much room that he would have had an open 3. Instead, Adome gets it when the help defense isn't lined up.
Yeah, and this Millikin team is the worst defensive team as far as the three-pointer goes in the conference, so that's definitely something to watch here as the Thunder start off 3 for 3 from three-point range. This one goes for a 3 attempt that rims out and is collected by Cade Alioth. And now the Thunder with a chance to run a little bit in transition is Crookshank, however, stopping up. Swings over to Hawkins. Now to Vegas. Adome. Crookshank again. Nice, gets some separation, bobbles the ball a little bit, now hands it over to Alioth. To Adome, who pulls up and fires from deep, and the Thunder cannot miss to start.
Yeah, that's a heat check three because he had time to get to it, but the team's feeling it, he's feeling it. It goes down, and Millikin's in a world of trouble before we ever get to the first play stoppage.
4 quick threes from the Thunder to start this one. 3 minutes gone, and they've already buried 4 of them to make it 12-2 to start this one. Millikin not at all with the start that they want, as this is 31 Jake Hampton with the ball, being pressured hard by Vegas, and now it's Calvin Fisher. Nice move, gets around 1. Step back 2 is good. That's a nice tough shot from Fisher.
That's an old school shot there, but you like to see it. There's a lot of ways to get yourself open when the offense isn't flowing. That's a nice job to work on that. This isn't what Millikin needs. Millikin needs to keep they're a little offensively limited. They've got to keep the game in the 60s if they have a chance to win. And Wheaton obviously hitting their first 4 shots and all of them coming from deep isn't the recipe to do that. So Mark Scheer taking advantage of a made shot. It's a little bit of Mike Shower's timeout technique, which he'll tell you he brought from Bill Harris, is that you want to go into the timeout huddle feeling good about what just happened. And especially for Millikin, when you've gotten a haymaker thrown in the first 3 minutes, get a little bit of good vibe going into the huddle and then reset your team a little bit. Anytime you're on the road, you talk about weathering the storm, and this is a tsunami coming from the Thunder here to start this game.
Yeah, no, this is definitely exactly how you would draw it up if you're the Thunder. 4 for 4 from the field, all 3-pointers, 2 from Hawkins, 2 from a dome. Yeah, get the stoppage of play and get back into it, as Millikin has put up 2 buckets. That one from Calvin Fisher, as we've mentioned, can score, averaging 15 points per game. This is Alioth now outside for a quick 3. That one is finally a miss for the Thunder.
Yeah, and Cruikshank didn't quite get his momentum stopped. He had a little bit of fade to it, and you could see with that coming up on the front rim that was the difference there. It's a good set. With a guy like Cade Alioth, when he's got the matchups available, you want to run inside out a little bit.
This is a 3 attempt again from Millikin. That one coming from Fisher as well. Nice cross-seam pass from a dome. That's Cruikshank, can't get it to go, however, and the rebound is collected by Millikin.
Really good defense. Nice job of staying vertical to slow that break.
Now another 3 ball is off target, but then the rebound collected by Fisher, who can rebound the ball as well, and throws that one up and in.
Yeah, and Alioth is going to get caught here by a bad shot. He's slow to get there, and then the shot's off by so much, it takes a weird angle down where he's not able to get in rebounding position, and a nice job being there by Calvin Fisher.
Yeah, so a few baskets here being strung together by Millikin, cutting into his lead a little bit. 4 straight points for them, and now Fisher with the chance to make this a 3-point play. And he does not, as that one kind of hops out.
Worth mentioning again, Wheaton is obviously the #1 seed, but this is because of the scenario around the conference champion is not being determined by the regular season. So the conference tournament champion will get the honor of calling themselves the conference champion for 2021. Nice take by a dome.
That's a dome driving here and gets to the hoop, and gets the little slash over the hands there and is able to finish as well.
Yeah, Sam Stichnote really hung his guy out to dry. Calvin Fisher was in good help, had good position. He was funneling him to Stichnote, who just kept backing away, and then eventually Fisher had to foul to try to stop the easy layup. If you're Stichnote there, you've got to stand on the train tracks and take the charge there. You were in position initially, and you kept backpedaling with a dome. That you've got to stand there and just take the charge.
Millikin now back with it. That's Calvin Fisher down low. Now swings it over, and in nice little feed inside, but then can't get it to go. But that was a great little pass from number 12 there. Excuse me, not number 12. I can't tell who exactly it is, but that was a good pass from him.
Yeah, the pass came from Scott Gowan, and that's exactly the same thing we just mentioned on the other end. Cade Alioth's got to stand there and take the charge. Not only does he not do that, he elevates, which gives room for the pass. Even if he stays grounded with his hands up, that's going to be a tough pass. But when he elevates, that opens up a passing window and gets to help defense out of position.
Yeah, that was Gowan to Stichnote, and Stichnote taking the second of his 2 free throws here. Gets the bounce that time, and Thunder now will bring it up court. Cruikshank with it.
Nice job by Millikin. Obviously, you get punched early, but out of that timeout, they've been a lot better, a lot more together.
Yeah, down 12-2 almost immediately to start this one, and now able to cut into it a little bit. Now down by 7 as a dome pivots and takes the 3 and buries again. That's 12 for a dome.
What he does so well is it's hard to do. When you come off a screen like that, you've got to square your shoulders. And he's coming the other way for that. And he does a great job of squaring up to get himself in scoring position.
DeMarcus Bond with the 3 and then goes up fighting for the ball with Alioth. I think he'll get called for the foul there on Alioth, and see them both going up.
Yeah, that's not a play that can work often for a guy to try to tip it up to yourself, especially down in there. But when you've got the size advantage that Wheaton does against Millikin, you're in good shape. You can kind of pull that off.
Number 24 for the Thunder, Luke Anthony in the game now. A dome over to Vegas. Tries to go, thought about going down low for Alioth, but a whistle will force the Thunder to inbound. It's going to be Luke Anthony lining up. And he finds a dome open on the side. It's a little bit of a screen from Alioth, stops. Cut long 2 is off the front of the rim. Now Alioth underneath. Going to have another whistle, however.
Yeah, that's going to be back-to-back fouls there for Millikin against DeMarcus Bond. The team that doesn't have a whole lot of depth is going to be tested. We're going to see Jarius Ingram, the sophomore local product for the Big Blue out of Decatur, will check into the game.
This inbound is into the hands of a dome. Now outside for an open 3. That one doesn't go. So the Thunder cooling off a little bit from long range in these last few minutes after making 4 for 4 to start the game. That's number 12, Fisher. Swings it out for Ingram. Just entered the game. Pass for 14, Sticknote goes.
Again, Millikin grounding itself a little bit.
They're stringing together a few buckets, and now it's Vegas. Ooh, a little tips the ball away from 22 for the Thunder, and now it goes to a dome on the side. Dome working one-on-one with Fisher. Nice few moves, cuts through traffic, and then that's a nice defensive play to strip it away. That was Sticknote on a dome, able to take it away.
Yeah, that's good help defense. You funneled him to where you had help and had bodies, and he had nowhere to go.
Fisher just, that's Gowan now throwing it up, and he'll draw the foul on Cade Alioth.
You're going to see it again. Cade Alioth thinks he's staying vertical here, but when you leave the ground, even like a little bit right there, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And he's going to watch that on tape and realize that the arm comes down too. I mean, any big man is going to tell you he stays vertical, but it's almost impossible, especially when the driver does what he did, which is attack the chest. I mean, it's pretty easy. You can test this out at home. Whoever you've got around you, put your arms up and have them just kind of stick you in the chest. Your arms are naturally going to come down, which is why you tell guards when you go in against bigger guys, you've got to take the ball right at the logo, right at the numbers, because it's going to be impossible for a big man to stay vertical against you when you attack him like that.
That leads to 2 made free throws from number 23, Gowan. So Millikin within 6 now. Nice job weathering the early storm from the Thunder and able to keep this game relatively close. This goes to 12. And now up top for Crookshank, who drives, kicks it out to Vegas, who drives again and throws it up and gets it to go and 1.
Yeah, this is not a lineup for Wheaton that's going to work against many CCIW teams because they're really playing with 4 guards. You're playing, Schiavolo is really a big guard, so he's your biggest guy out there at 6'4". But Millikin doesn't have that kind of traditional big man that's going to really cause you matchup problems on the other end. So it creates an interesting offensive look where you can essentially go 5 out and open up driving lanes exactly like what Vegas just took advantage of.
Yeah, as far as the size goes, we've seen Cole Lawrence in for a little bit for Millikin, but not really getting a ton of time as kind of the big man that they've been playing at least a bit. But
yeah, and he's getting set to check back in, so we'll see.
Yeah.
And here Wheaton's going to counter with Gavin Hawkins. So they've taken advantage of the matchups that are available to them, and as that changes, they're going to be smart enough to change as well.
Nice pass for Sticknote, who throws it out for Fisher, who takes a 3. That one is no good. Hitting the deck. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, really good closeout by Eli Considine. Comes out under control, keeps his feet, and there's just a nice job by Vegas taking advantage of the breakdown.
Now Vegas sees that massive hole open up in the defense and just takes it right to the rack. Thunder extend their lead back up to 11. Hampton with the ball now. Moves over for Ingram. To Sticknote, back to Ingram. Up top for Hampton. Got 24, Anthony on him. Working one-on-one. Goes behind the back. Long three. That one's off the front of the rim. A little bit of an ambitious three there, and the Thunder will bring it back in transition.
Yeah, even if that goes, you're okay with it if you're Mike Schauer and his team, because that's not good offense. That is good offense. Man, Wheaton is on fire.
Yeah, that's an equally long three from Anthony, and able to do what Millikin could not on that last drive and just bury it.
5 of 7 from 3 now for the Thunder, and that, excuse me, they're 6 of 8, not 5 of 7.
Yeah, 6 of 8 after that one.
And a flop warning being issued. We'll bring things to a close for here, and Mark Scheer's going to take a timeout as Wheaton again has caught fire from deep.
Yeah, as you said, 6 for 8. Adome has 12 right now. Hawkins with 6, and we'll see if it ends up being the look out of this timeout with Hawkins and Lawrence back in the game. We'll get to see that look a little bit more, perhaps.
And we saw it last year when Gavin Hawkins would play the 5. Wheaton's a little bit at a disadvantage, just because he is more of what you would call a stretch 4, a traditional stretch 4. But with this lineup, he can actually play the 5 pretty effectively. Him and Cole Lawrence are going to match each other pretty well as far as skill set down there. So this is a matchup that favors Wheaton quite a bit, and you would expect out of a 1-8 kind of game. Looking around the conference, we mentioned the 4-5 game, Carthage and Augustana. Wheaton, should they win, will get the winner of that game. Augustana, the home team in that one, leading 17-16, just over 10 minutes into the first half. Illinois Wesleyan and North Park rematching after the Vikings took down the Titans in Chicago, and after a slow start, the Vikings playing catch up a little bit, 15-11. In favor of the Titans down in Bloomington. And the other game going on right now, Elmhurst leading Carroll 10-7.
And as you mentioned, the Thunder will get either Augustana or Carthage out of that one. I don't know if there's a matchup the Thunder would prefer out of that game, if there's someone that gives them maybe a harder time between those two teams. Think about that, Rusty.
Well, that's the weird thing, the way this season has gone, and Wheaton saw Augustana in the first game of the year. Augustana took a couple games to find their footing, but they've been playing much better basketball down the stretch. So if you get Augustana coming back in here, that's a very different team than the team that Wheaton ran off the floor in the season opener.
Right. Yeah, a lot of similarities there here. The Thunder played Millikin very early on in the season as well, so just, kind of have to learn about them again as you go. It's just been so long since late January, as we mentioned.
And especially in the case of Augustana, who, going through a coaching change, lost a very talented group of seniors, as they've had the last few years, the final years of the Greg Giovanni regime. And so that's a team that really had to figure itself out. And so to run them off the floor wasn't completely a surprise, given Wheaton's returning talent in that opener. But will be very different now that team's had time to gel for a 9 games, 10 game since.
This ball looks like it'll stay with Millikin off of that possession. Just kind of falling out of bounds as a Millikin player, but able to maintain possession. That's 23, Scott Gowan to inbound. Vague's playing defense on him, goes out to Hampton. Finds stick note, now to the sophomore Ingram. Ingram down low, so we're going to see Lawrence versus Hawkins, and that's nice defense. Can't tell if he just dropped it or maybe that was Hawkins giving a little punch to the ball there, but Lawrence not able to get anything done down low on Hawkins, at least for that play. But it will stay with Millikin with 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Inbound to Ingram, who gets free. Now to stick note. DeMarcus Bond back in the game for Millikin, who takes it up with shot clock running down. That one's pretty far off the mark, and now the Thunder running in transition to Dome, throws it out. Hawkins now swings it around the horn. Crookshank stops, back to Hawkins.
Good recovery by Millikin. Wheaton was in a good setup there for what's called secondary break, is that you get the first attack, and when that's stopped, there's usually a 2 or 3 pass window where you've got an opportunity somewhere, and Millikin really recovered nicely to shut that down.
Yeah, exactly. You saw those quick 2-3 passes right, like ringing around the horn. Yep. Just couldn't find anyone open, or open enough at least to take the shot. So yeah, as you mentioned, good defense, getting back in transition.
Yeah, Wheaton filled their lanes very well. I've been impressed with the way that Wheaton's run transition, in that they almost always have the lanes filled. You don't have guys running into the same spot. Millikin just did a great job of recovering, and that's a nice pass. Ooh. That's nice.
That's a real pretty pass. Crookshank finding a Dome for the easy bucket. 28-12 now for the Thunder, their largest lead of the game. This goes out to Cole Lawrence. To stick note inside for Fisher. Out for Gowan, who takes a long three. Millikin hasn't really been able to connect on any of their three-point bids so far this game, and that shot was no different. And a dome with a little bit of space on the outside actually misses it. Now Hawkins trying to get to the ball there, and he'll bump with Ingram. Pretty fair size differential between those two.
Yeah. Yeah, you better beat him to the spot, because if you're there at the same time, that's going to be a pretty obvious call. Wheaton's going to have some interesting matchups now, as that's 2 on Hawkins as well. Both teams with 5 team fouls so far. But 4 of Wheaton's 5 consolidated evenly between Alioth and Hawkins. Hawkins going to stay in the game for now, but I would expect that 4 or 5 guard lineup here pretty soon.
Ingram with Cruikshank all over him. Now a mid-range 2 taken from.
And that's 3 on Hawkins.
Stickno, yeah, 3rd foul now on Hawkins.
Great effort by Cole Lawrence here. You're going to see him fight to get it. Hawkins not really squared up, but Lawrence doesn't quit on it, just trying to tap it out. And now Hawkins has 3, and here is that 5-guard lineup with Vegas checking right back in.
Yeah, and Lawrence is a lot to handle down low. 6'8", 250 pounds. That's 35-pound advantage over Hawkins as far as just how much weight he can throw around down low. So that's a hard task for sure, as he'll get the ball back.
Yeah, and he's going to have 50 pounds on Eli Considine, so Considine's going to have his hand full.
Yeah.
It's going to be up to the guard on that side to dig, as that time a nice secondary offense by Jarius Ingram. So the Wheaton guard's going to have to dig whenever that comes down. It's essentially bringing a double team from the guy on that wing. And so it's going to be more important for the help defense to be lined up that Wheaton can recover off that dig.
Dome over to Considine, who takes the 2, which is nowhere near connecting for the Thunder, but now goes back to Lawrence. Now found by Gowan, out to Lawrence, who has a little bit of a lane, but stops and throws it back out to Ingram, who collects, waits, gets some space. Nice bounce pass inside to Fisher. That's a nice find from Ingram.
Yeah, Ingram bringing a little instant offense here. And if I'm Millikin, I don't know that I want to play pick and pop ball with Lawrence here. I think I want him on the block. You're really helping Wheaton's defense by bringing him out and playing pick and roll and letting the guards just kind of switch. I think if I'm Millikin, I want to find sets where I can get Cole Lawrence isolated on the block and working against Considine.
There's a 3 from Cruikshank. That's no good. Millikin getting maybe a little bit in a groove here. They've got a few baskets going, got a few stops here and there, and it's Ingram, as you said. Some instant offense for the team. Been good in the minutes that he's been out here so far. Now this is Calvin Fisher. Nice spin move. Gets around, bumps, and gets it to go. That's a nice just job from him to be able to get past the body of Vegas and get it to the hoop.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup. 6'6" against 6'1". Now Millikin has actually been able to swing this with the centers being out to have some matchup advantages in the post if they can find them.
A Dome had a clear lane, but just lost it a little bit, and he tries to go up, and it looks like that foul will be going on Cole Lawrence.
Yeah, that's a really good snake, and then they didn't really stay and cut off the baseline, and Lawrence gets caught in bad position there. So bail out. Both teams now with 6 fouls, first against Lawrence.
Yeah, both big men on both sides, Hawkins and Lawrence, racking up the fouls now, and that will go back to this look that we've been seeing throughout the game.
Yeah, so Alioth comes back in, and this is a little bit of a gamble from Mike Schauer bringing his guy back in with 2 fouls. I like it, though. When you get 2 fouls that quick, you want to find the stretch. It doesn't have to be long. He's not going to play a 5-minute stretch here. This is probably going to be 2 or 3 minutes. But you don't want him to sit for 17 minutes and then come back ready to go for the second half. You want to give him something, work a sweat up again, find the rhythm of the game, even if it's just for a couple minutes. Now, it backfires if he picks up his 3rd foul, and then you've got some big problems.
So Stickno with it on the side, goes up top for Lawrence. Nice pass into Calvin Fisher, as you said, using that height advantage over Vegas to get that ball down, but can't make anything of it. Now goes back out to Ingram, who stops, feeds it inside to Lawrence, who bobbles a little bit, turns, spins, off the backboard, no good, gets the rebound back, throws it up, and the shot clock will run out as Lawrence couldn't get the second attempt to go either.
The rare double air ball.
Indeed.
Yeah, sure enough. I thought maybe that hit kind of the corner of the box, but sure enough on replay, that was...
Nope, hit nothing.
That's the 0 for 2 from within 5 feet.
This is Cruikshank to a Dome. Stops. Mid-range 2 is good. That's so clean.
He's so smooth with the handle. And he had the chance to learn from the best. Watching Aston Francis for a couple years, but I think he took some tools from Aston's bag, and he's gotten pretty good at that little step back.
Lawrence finds some space, spins,
Ooh.
working on Alioth, throws it up. That one's off the rim, gets a hand on it as it was about to go straight to a Wheaton Thunder player. Now we get a timeout.
Yeah, one too many moves. I thought he had him. I thought he had him.
The spin.
The spin sealed him, and I don't think he trusted his footing enough, but he actually had the drop step behind Alioth, just didn't trust himself to finish, and then worked himself into bad position.
Yeah, 100%. I thought after the spin he was going to go right up with it, but just opted not to, and the Thunder remain with a 32-18 lead. And worth noting as far as the three-pointers go, the Thunder are 6 for 10. Millikin is 0 for 8 in this one, so that's just a huge differential. Just an 18-point gap there just from the three-pointers alone. So that's definitely been a factor to watch in this one.
Yeah, we've seen it since that start, is that Wheaton started so hot. They are 1 for their last 3, but you start hot like that, sometimes you can fall in love with that shot and open up some doors, but you keep hitting them, obviously it's going to be pretty hard to catch. It's the first time we're going to see Akinwumi in the game as he's going to switch onto a dome here.
And that's a dome getting it back from Considine. Considine drives, splits 2 defenders, goes up and can't just curl it up and around enough to get it to drop.
It's a really good take, and Millikin's help defense was not there. That's one that a dome's going to finish more often than not.
Hampton to Gowan, now to Fisher. Thought about going to stick note, now it goes to Akinwumi, and now back to Hampton. Hampton has a dome on him.
And again, if I'm Millikin, I want Fisher on the block right now. He's had the advantage with Vegas, and that's a terrible closeout by Luke Anthony.
Yeah, exactly. That goes to Gowan and puts up the long 3, and
that's the difference. A lot of times, the difference in what we talked about with Eli Considine's closeout, when he came up and squared up on him, and he was in control on the breakdown. If he puts the ball on the floor, he's able to step with him. A lot of times, you go high hedge in a one-hand closeout like that, you're going to end up getting yourself in trouble. And that's if you were to see when shooters get fouled on threes more often than not, you're not seeing a squared up closeout. You're seeing a lead closeout like that.
And so that's Gowan with finishing off his. Well, 2 of 3, actually. It was a three-pointer, so he'll take 1 more.
Millikin's not a great free throw shooting team. They've been able to kind of stay in this thing right on the periphery at the free throw line so far. They are 6 of 7, and now 7 of 8 at the line. They're a team that's shooting only 66% at the line so far this year.
Yeah, interesting enough, not really a strength of the Thunder either so far this year as far as from the line.
No, and that's surprising given the number of good shooters that Wheaton has.
Yeah, the Thunder leading the conference as far as just in field goal percentage, but certainly not in free throw percentage. So, yeah, very interesting. Seen a Dome struggle in a few games with his free throws when he's just burying everything else, which is, just a interesting thing is that Considine gets around Akinwumi and throws it up and in.
Really good take. Eli Considine's a promising kid. He didn't see many minutes as a freshman, but he's had a strong sophomore campaign, and he's a kid that as he's bulked up has really been able to show his skill set a little bit more, and he's a guy that presents some matchup problems because he can play on the block, he can switch out on the 4 and give you the ability to be flexible with your defense. We've seen him guard the 5 here tonight. Just a really strong player. That's a good take.
Jake Hampton to bring it up court for Millikin. Now goes to Fisher. Fisher with a 3, just getting a little bit of separation. That one's off the back of the rim and found by Vegas.
That's a look that Wheaton ran a lot with Aston Francis, that pin down ball screen like that with a return screen, and Fisher just couldn't hit.
That's nice little shake and bake there, but can't get it to go. Definitely had the open look. That's number
the game moves a little differently for freshmen than it does for everybody else. I think next year that's a play that he'll finish pretty easily.
Sure. This is Crookshank driving, stops, throws it up top for Considine.
Travel.
Yeah, Considine will get called for the travel. Got a little too fancy. Akinwumi will throw it in for Hampton. Hampton hands off to Gowan. Over to Sticknote. Stops, finds Gowan, who goes into number 22, Considine, and gets it to go as well.
That's the same thing we talked about earlier. That's a great job of attacking the chest of Eli Considine. Considine stayed as vertical as he can, but when you leave your feet, more often than not, you're going to get whistled.
And that's just a really good finish, too, from Gowan to be able to
great
finish through the contact as well. Yeah, get it up and over, high off that backboard and in.
And I mean, credit Millikin. I mean, they went down 10 points in the first 3 minutes. And there's a lot of times you've got the end of the season, you're facing the end of the season. Season hasn't gone the way you've wanted it to. You're on the road. It's pretty easy to fold the tents and go home. And Millikin hasn't. They've been able to steady things a little bit. They've stayed between the 15 and 10 minute mark. Now with 4 minutes left, if you're Millikin and you can kind of get within 8 at halftime, you kind of feel pretty good about where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. No, especially considering that the shot that they took immediately, and that could have been, you could have folded immediately and the game could have just been over, but able to hang around. They were down as much as 16, and just hanging around within this 10, 11 point mark for a little bit now, and now with a chance to cut it back down to single digits.
On the flip side for Wheaton, if you can get it over 15, you feel really good about that first half.
That's a step back from Fisher. That looked like it might have had a shot at dropping in, but it just rims out. Now goes to Crookshank. Crookshank with Gowan on him. Gives it over to Andrew Williams for the Thunder, now in the game. Now a Dome. Considine up to Crookshank. Swinging around the outer perimeter. Now a Dome going to drive, stops, puts up the mid-range two, is just a little short, and goes back to Millikin, Hampton to bring it up court.
Yeah, big possession here for Millikin. You've been able to hold them off, try to get yourself within single digits here for the first time in a while. I want to get Fisher on the block if I'm Millikin, not the fadeaway. I want to drop step and a move to the bucket.
Going into Atkinwumi, who throws it up, will get a foul called on Considine.
That's a bailout. That's good defense by Considine. And Atkinwumi out of control. He's bobbling the ball. And I think because he bobbled the ball on a drop step, it made the contact look worse than it was, and he gets the benefit of the whistle.
He'll head to the line where, as we've mentioned, that one goes out. But overall, Millikin's been doing a good job from the line. You have number 23, Gowan, 6 for 6 from the line. That's the majority of his points on the night.
Yeah, and Atkinwumi is a guy you don't mind sending to the line. He's a 20% free throw shooter. He's 8 of 40 now on the year.
Ooh. And he makes second to 2, so 50% on that attempt for him. Now it's Williams bringing it up, goes to Crookshank. Got a whistle.
That'll be a foul on stick note, holding a Dome around that screen.
Yep, is on number 14, stick note.
And there's a philosophy, and it's what Augustana has done so well for years, of that you've kind of got to jump to the ball on defense. And when you're jumping to the ball and you kind of you're in various differences between the ball and your man, depending on how many passes away the ball is. If help defense is where it's supposed to be, you shouldn't get screened there. So Sticknote's playing too close to a Dome there, which allows himself to get screened and ultimately fouled. If he's up the line farther and in position, that's going to be a tough screen play, because he's not in a position where you would actually screen him. You're kind of just turning it into an exchange.
And a Dome goes 1 for 2 on that trip to the line. Now it's brought up by Hampton. Gowan swinging around. Now Fisher will go to Fisher with this Fisher-Uvagis matchup that we've seen a little bit down low.
Repost, yeah. If you're Millikin, repost that, and then not done any favors. Calvin Fisher's doing exactly what he needs to do. That time he had a bad set, so you pass back out, you reestablish yourself, and then you go at it again. And I think if the pass is there, he's in a pretty good setup, but obviously there's two parts to that play.
Yeah. The pass is pretty key if he's going to even get a shot down low, so now it's the Thunder with a little bit of a dry, period for both teams, really. It's been on 11 for a little bit with this 36-35 score as a Dome takes a long three, which is no good. The ball bounces straight to the Thunder, and now we got a foul. I think that's going to be on Atkinwumi.
Yeah. Nice job by Schiavolo sticking his nose in there and knocks it loose to Williams, who knocks it loose to Crookshank, who draws the foul on Atkinwumi. That's going to be 2 on him, so Cole Lawrence will come back in for the final minute, 48. This is the lineup that if Wheaton's bigs are still in trouble in the second half, this is the lineup I would go with Millikin and play high-low between Lawrence and Fisher. They ran that set with a high feed from Lawrence down to Fisher, really setting up Lawrence on the elbow and feeding same block to Fisher, that if I'm Millikin, this is the set that I try to get into as often as possible, because you've got a couple options you can go with there.
Yeah, exactly. You got the foul differential between Lawrence and Hawkins. Hawkins with 3 and Lawrence with only 1, so they can definitely do that. And see what how the Thunder answer this look. Which, yeah, whenever we've seen Lawrence, Hawkins has been right out there to match him, so that's going to just see how this looks without that. This goes to Gowan. Lawrence sets the screen, does not get it back, but now it'll go up top for Fisher. Now to Hampton, driving on Crookshank. Kicks it out to Sticknote. Sticknote with the spin, puts up a 2, and getting
defense.
A hand on it is Andrew Williams.
Well, that's a really good sequence by Andrew Williams. Williams sensed where the shot clock was, so he knew he had to elevate and goes up with him, gets the rebound and draws the foul 75 feet away from the basket. Williams is a guy that saw a lot of minutes last year, had his role decreased because you've seen Eli Constantine kind of take some of those minutes because he's been a lot more reliable on defense this year. And Andrew Williams is an energy guy. He gives you a strong defensive presence, and you see it there.
Andrew Williams, a sophomore, as you said, did get a fair amount of time for a freshman last year in his first year playing for the team. And his second free throw is good.
You really thought he had maybe his strongest game at the end of the year against North Central in the regular season finale. Helped kind of lead a comeback against a highly ranked and very talented North Central team with just the energy and three-point shooting.
Approaching a minute remaining in this first half. 15-point lead for the Thunder, so able to extend it back up through a couple trips to the free throw line. Gowan with some contact on a dome and takes, I guess that's a 3. That was an interesting shot take there. Lawrence able to find the rebound, though, and that play somehow ends up working out for Millikin.
Yeah, Millikin was trying to go 2 for 1, so they had the ability to get the shot up before 30 and get a second possession. That's why the shot went up so early.
Yeah, it was an interesting-looking shot, but it falls straight to Lawrence, who puts up the easy 2. Now the Thunder just going to let take as much time off of this clock as they can. Approaching 10 left on the shot clock, and that's when Crookshank's going to start making an offensive move. And this Williams gets pretty open, actually, on the side for 3. And now the rebound is collected by the Thunder.
Good effort.
Kicked out for Crookshank. And, yeah, now that shot clock is off, so take your time.
Those are the plays that win you minutes as a freshman. That's what you got to do. You got to come in and just be a grit guy.
Yep. Now we saw that in the last possession with the block and then getting his own rebound. Now that's a long 3. Rims out and going up hard. Contact there, but no call. And now what is almost a full court shot will be no good. So the Thunder will exit this first half up by 13, kind of around where they've been for most of this period that we've seen. So, yeah, just an overall good first half from the Thunder. And good job for Millikin to able to kind of weather the storm a little bit and stay at least a little bit in distance, striking distance, kind of.
Yeah, if you break that up, Wheaton won the first 3 matches. That if it's a boxing match, that's 10-7 on the cards. And then Millikin was kind of able to steady, and you almost give them a win over the last 15, 16 minutes to be able to not get that thing blown out to 15-20. So if you're Millikin, you feel okay. You feel the way it started. You feel good about the way things went. If you're Wheaton, that's just a solid 20 minutes of basketball. You need 20 more.
Yep, Thunder doing what they need to do, and we'll see you after halftime for the remainder of this one.
Recent Wheaton graduate Aston Francis receiving his Jostens Trophy, and Aston has obviously been kind of a whirlwind experience, I'm sure, but we unfortunately didn't have the trophy out here, but it's a hefty piece of hardware.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely extravagant. I'm very fortunate to be able to bring it back to Wheaton.
You've had a heck of a tour almost after the season wrapped up with the Bevo Francis Award and now this. What has the experience been like? Even take us through even the postseason run and then what that's been like after that wrapped up.
Yeah, no, it's just been great to be able to represent Wheaton College and my teammates and stuff, and the postseason experience with them was great. Just getting to experience the Final Four and things like that, and a couple more road trips with those guys. Creating memories that we won't forget for sure. And then after that, getting to meet some of the small college people I met at the Bevo Francis Award and the great people with the Jostens Award has been really cool just to meet them and get to network a little bit and, like I said, represent Wheaton.
So obviously everyone's familiar with 3 years you spent at Wheaton. What was it that really drew you to Wheaton coming after a first year at Tyler Junior College?
I think the faith-based institution is obviously the first thing that came to mind, and that was appealing to Wheaton. And the second thing was just very rigorous academics. So, wanted to challenge myself not only athletically, spiritually, and then also academically. And then the guys on the team, they just have magnetic personalities, guys you want to be around, want to do life with. That was one of the things Coach Schauer sold me on. These are guys that you're going to do life with, and so I'm very fortunate and very happy that I chose that group of guys.
You committed to a team that was 5-20 the year before. Those guys stuck around. Some of them left. Those guys that stuck around got to finish in a Final Four. How special was it? You didn't get to experience necessarily the 5-20, but to see that from their vantage point, how you guys finished on such a high after they started their career on such a low.
Yeah, no, it was very rewarding, I know, for them, and it was cool for me to see because those guys have worked so hard over the past 3 years. So for them to be able to be out there and just experience that, some of the guys who maybe weren't out there as much as we would have liked them to been or they would have liked to be, is very cool for them to get to experience that and kind of come full circle because they did work so hard to get there.
What really sticks out to you from that postseason run? Because obviously, I'm sure everyone points to the 62 in the game winner late in the game against Marietta, but you guys had a pretty special run where you beat you had a talented team in Worcester. You had to beat on the road. You had to go through a very good Augustana team for the third time. What was there a moment that sticks out or that feels a little more special than the rest of them?
I think the Augie game was probably the most special. Obviously, personally, it was cool to have the Marietta game in the Elite Eight, but the Augie game will always stick out in my mind because everyone contributed. That's obviously a team we know well. We're going to have to play well to beat them. Packed house, at their place. It's a conference rival, but certainly not a conference game. So that will always stand out because we had just everyone contributed. Everyone played well. It was electric in the gym. So it was very special.
When do you? Most of us will never know what it's like to feel when you know you're on, like Marietta. When did you know that you had it that night? Was it when you pulled up from 27 in the first 5 minutes? Because I think you had 20 points in the bank in about 6 minutes there in that game.
I think so. Definitely had a heat check there where I pulled up, right near the volleyball line, and when I hit that, I was like, okay, I think we may be on to something here. So.
Now, what have you been doing? Obviously, you graduated in May. What's been the process since your graduation up until now?
So I had surgery for a stress fracture that I had actually during the season, trying to get that taken care of, and have just been rehabbing that, trying to get ready for a G League training camp with the Milwaukee Bucks here in about a month. So just working out and trying to make sure I'm 100% for that.
And obviously the Milwaukee Bucks, an organization you can feel some comfort with Tony Bellier in the front office.
Definitely.
And Artie Culver as the G League coach there for the Bucks team.
Oh yeah. No, definitely great to have some familiarity with those guys and be able to kind of lean on them through this process. So very fortunate to be able to have a chance with the Bucks.
Have you had a chance to kind of soak it all in? I mean, you obviously had the surgery right after, but did you get a chance afterwards to just kind of look back and say, man, that was really appreciate what you guys were able to do?
Definitely. We had a wedding actually this summer of a teammate, Trevor Gunner, who also graduated last year, and getting together with mostly the seniors, but some of the guys on the team. We just kind of got to sit back and be like, man, this was really cool that we were able to accomplish this as a group. So I've had a little bit of time to reflect on it, and it is really cool what we were able to accomplish.
Well, Aston, thanks for taking some time to join us here. Congratulations again on the Jostens Trophy. And again, if you're in the Krauser Sports Complex, the Jostens Trophy is a beautiful piece of hardware, and it'll be on display
I think we might have to build a sturdier trophy case because I think what we have now, that thing's going to take down. That is a hefty piece of hardware.
Definitely.
Again, Aston Francis joining us here during the halftime break after receiving his Jostens Trophy during the halftime break.
Thanks, Rusty. I appreciate it.
Be inspired as you seek to make a difference in the lives of children as an elementary, middle, or high school teacher.
Be challenged by a strong academic program that prepares you for the leadership skills needed to lead a classroom.
Be equipped with the strategies and tools from experienced professors in a program that boasts a 100% passing rate for all licensure exams.
Welcome back to King Arena. John Mark Mills and Rusty Lindsay still with you here in what is a 13-point lead for the Wheaton Thunder, 40-27. Got off to a quick start, did the Thunder, hitting 4 quick threes to take a 12-2 lead, and then after that, Millikin was able to hang around a little bit, keep this lead at least manageable to some degree, whereas the Thunder, kind of towards the end of that first half, were able to extend it back up to where it is at 13, but we'll see what Millikin can answer with in this second half.
Yeah, and you credit Millikin for where they are now, and part of it was it's unsustainable to hit 75% of your threes over the length of a game, and Wheaton got a little bit of love with the three because they were making them so many. They missed their last, looks like their last 5, so they finished 6 of 13 after starting 6 of 8, including 4 of 4. For Millikin, they're 0 of 10 from 3, so if Millikin can even just, if things revert to the norm, Wheaton's actually kind of around their 3-point, but if Millikin can make a couple threes, they've been able to steady things enough that if the 3 starts to fall, they could work themselves back to get a little closer and maybe put a scare into the Thunder down the stretch. But if you're not going to make threes on the road, you're going to have a hard time winning. And Wheaton did a great job, obviously, getting off to the early lead. Niamey Adom, 19 points to lead all scorers. 6 for Gavin Hawkins, 5 for U Vegas, 4 for Andrew Williams. Millikin led by Scott Gowan, who has 8 points, along with Calvin Fisher. Gowan's got 6 of his 8 at the free throw line, where he is 6 of 6. 4 points, 9 rebounds for Stam Sticknote, who's done a nice job keeping Millikin in the game on the defensive end. Wheaton out-rebounding the Big Blue by 1, 19-18. But pretty clean game, only 9 total turnovers. Millikin with 5 of them, and this has not been a game that's been played in the open floor, just 2 fast break points, those coming from Wheaton. So when you look at that stat especially, I would think it favors Millikin, but man, those 3-pointers from jump were just so big.
Yeah, the Thunder are really, for a lot of intents and purposes, just kind of riding that lead that they got from the start of the game and playing fairly even basketball after that. That's a quick 2, that one from Crookshank.
Yeah, that's a good point you make, too, and I think that's probably, if I'm Mark Scher, that's what I'm telling my team at halftime is, hey, they won the first 4 minutes so convincingly. That's where we're at. It's 16 minutes later, we're still there. We got to feel good about that.
Yeah, to take such a shot immediately and then, really not fall any further behind than they did, immediately. So that's definitely been a good job of Millikin to be able to hang with the Thunder.
I do like that by Millikin going right at Cade Alioth. That's the big thing for Wheaton is the fouls. 2 on Alioth, 3 on Hawkins, 2 on Considine, 2 on Anthony. All 9 of their fouls condensed in 4 players.
Yeah, if Alioth and Hawkins get in such substantial foul trouble that they can't, the Thunder can't answer Lawrence or even, Calvin Fisher down low. We've seen that mismatch against U Vegas a few times. That could be something they could exploit, is that's Alioth going straight to the hole. Can't get that one to go. He had Lawrence providing some difficulty for him there. Now it's Hampton driving. Stops, throws it back out for Fisher. That 3 is short, so Millikin continues their just inability to hit threes, which has been a big factor in this game as they look to try to come back.
It is worth noting Wheaton starting with a little different lineup in the second half here because of the 3 fouls on Hawkins. They're just rolling out Eli Considine to start the half. So going with four guards.
Adom with tons of time, and that just makes it look easy when he's got that much time and space.
That is
going to hit it.
That is not a highly recommended defensive strategy. Cole Lawrence just got lost, and Niamey Adom's not the guy, the presumptive CCW player of the year.
Yeah.
Not the guy you want to leave open.
Yeah, but that puts Niamey Adom up to 22, 4 for 6 from long range. We're going to have a whistle here perhaps on Considine.
Yeah, that's an unnecessary one. He's in good position, but he's going to watch the hands here, right around the waist. That's what's going to get him in trouble. As he makes that move, there's a little bit of a hold right there, that hip check, that if he can just keep his hands out, he's driving towards the baseline. He's got nowhere to go. Let him take himself out of the play.
That's Considine's 3rd as well, so now Considine and Hawkins with 3.
And Luke Anthony's already got 2, so if I'm Millikin, keep driving the ball, working the post game.
That attempt from Lawrence is off the mark, found by Alioth and now thrown to Adom. As Lawrence on him. Crookshank. Been a little quiet this game, Crookshank has been, but hasn't needed to do too much as Adom has carried a lot of the heavy lifting as far as scoring goes. Alioth now with Hampton on him. Adom swings it over Crookshank with the quick fire release. Doesn't go. Found by Alioth, who's going to get whistle. I think it's going to be a whistle on Lawrence.
I don't know if it's Lawrence or I think it's on the backside. It's Jake Hampton who grabbed his arm. Yeah, it's going to be Hampton who's holding him from behind. Hampton's second, so that'll bring Scott Gowan back in. And Gowan had a nice first half. 8 points.
Gowan getting to the line a lot, as you mentioned earlier, Rusty, 6 for 6 from the line. This one to Luke Anthony, who drives, and that looked like a hack from behind for sure, but able to get the rebound back as Anthony and still make the bucket.
Good composure. I like that from Luke Anthony. When he's able to drive, you really present some problems. That he's not just a good spot-up shooter. If he's got drive ability, you make guys have to make decisions when they close out.
Anthony led the Thunder in their last matchup against North Central, scored 28 in that one. Has 5 on the night so far tonight, as that 3 is put up by Gowan, and still just cannot get these threes to go. Ball is found again by Millikin, and now driving is Sticknote, and then found by Calvin Fisher, and gets that layup to go.
30-second timeout here for Millikin again, as they're playing with they're in the danger zone here. The layup brings it back to 18, and Mark Scheer knows that if he doesn't find a way to balance things again, this is going to get out of hand before they even have a chance to make a run. And so you take advantage of the putback and try to get your team back in. This theory worked pretty well about 25 seconds later than this when they did it in the first half. So if they can kind of balance this a little bit, they give themselves a chance. But again, you got to make threes. They had a couple open ones there.
Yep.
They got to fall. I believe they're 0 for 12 now. As we look around the conference, this Carthage-Augustana game, who, if Wheaton can hold here, we'll face the winner of. It's been a good one in Rock Island. Carthage leading by 2 at the moment, despite only having 5 players score so far. Bilatovic with 17. Illinois Wesleyan starting the second half on a run to get some space between themselves and North Park, 41-26, and Elmhurst at the break leading Carroll 45-32. Again, North Central having to withdraw from the tournament because of COVID protocol, so this is only an 8-team tournament.
And Millikin theoretically would have had to do a play-in if North Central had been in as the 8th seed, but because of that dropout, is going to get straight to the quarterfinal to play this Thunder team. Now it's Vegas on the outside over to Cruikshank. Cruikshank drives, gets the hand, and goes straight at the defender, and that was a nice aggressive drive from Cruikshank.
And it's a smart finish, too. You keep your body between the defender and the ball. You give your chance where only you can get that ball off, and there's no chance to block it.
Fisher to Gowan. Now down low to Bond. To Sticknote. Pivots a few times and throws up a wild shot, and he gets it to fall.
That's really good patience by Sticknote. Really good. Keeps the foot down. Pretty easy to travel there, but he's in control. Patient, lets the defense kind of open up a window for him and takes advantage for the left-hand finish.
That's going to be Cruikshank called for the travel.
I think the thing that might be most disappointing about, obviously you don't want any team to have to withdraw from because of the protocol, and you want to have a healthy season, is I was interested to see what Wheaton would have done in the turnaround to go at North Central, a place where they have struggled after winning here. North Central was able to close that late with some 3 points, some 3-pointers down the stretch, and able to, I don't know that the final score really told the story of that game, but I wanted to see Wheaton on the turnaround and go on the road for what might have been their toughest challenge of the year.
Yeah.
And obviously then their next one probably would have been the same thing, but because of the way the protocols are structured and out of just an excess of caution, they had to cancel the game at Illinois Wesleyan on the following Tuesday, which then leads to a pretty lengthy layoff here before this game.
And Millikin, on the other hand, is playing a few days ago, so a little bit fresher than the Thunder. Alioth with a big shove.
It's an offensive foul. Yep, you can't extend. If he keeps the arm in, he's fine, but when he extends and there's some space there, that's good defense by Fisher. That's a pretty obvious one.
Yeah, and that's not what you want to see if you're the Thunder. Alioth going to head off because of the number of fouls that he has. I believe that puts him up to 3 as well.
When we talked about it at the end of the first half, this is great for Millikin. If I'm Millikin, I want Cole Lawrence in the game, and I want to go high-low, same side with Lawrence and Fisher. You can exchange it because both of them are going to have the same matchup, but you can, I would set a cross screen on one and bring the other one that's a little bit of a screen-to-screen, or the guy who sets the initial screen, bring him to the high block and then run high-low with those two, because you've got advantages with both guys that if they switch, it might even improve the matchup. Well, right now, Lawrence is on the bench for Millikin. That's 4 fouls now on Considines.
Yeah, 4 for Considine. He'll head off replaced by number 12 for the Thunder, Nick Schiavallo.
This is going to be big minutes for the freshman because they're going to need to ride him for a significant part of this second half.
And we'll see if Andrew Williams as well gets any more time. We've seen him have some really nice defensive possessions, especially as that's a hard make from Gowan.
That is a hard-earned two for Scott Gowan, who has competed his tail off for Millikin today. Nothing's come easy.
Yeah, and speaking of Andrew Williams, he is in for the Thunder, so sophomore and obviously the freshman Schiavallo in for the Thunder now. So getting some important minutes in this quarterfinal matchup.
I think Colin Uvegas might be the most important guy on the floor right now for Wheaton because he has to do that. He has to have an offensive presence because you don't want to put too much on the other guys. Luke Anthony's not really a create-your-own shot type, and you don't want to put too much pressure on a dome, so it's got to be on Uvegas to take aggressive shots like that.
Gowan straight to the hoop. Doesn't get it to fall, but the rebound is found by Millikin, and now Gowan puts up another two, which is off the mark.
Yeah,
found back by the Thunder.
That might have been the longest made jumper of the day for Millikin if that went. There has not been much that hasn't come around the basket.
Yeah, Millikin struggling from outside, especially from three-point range all game long. That's a long three, rims out. Millikin maybe with a little bit of a chance. I like the lineup, that they're going against for the Thunder is looking like it could be exploited a little bit.
Yeah, well, this is not a lineup where offense is going to come easy for the Thunder.
Right.
I think that's the important thing. They're going to be okay defensively, especially right now because Fisher's the biggest guy on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, you got a dome, of course, but then, Uvegas isn't really a linchpin scorer for this team, hasn't been all year long, and obviously, you got the sophomore and the freshman in that can only rely on them so much, so if Millikin is able to get some stops, but more importantly, convert on the offensive end, that's going to be the difficulty because...
Yeah, and that's a big foul because you stop play and let Tyson Cruikshank check in, so obviously it's a foul. And they have struggled to defend that pick across the lane like that. But you let Tyson Cruikshank check into the game. They had a window there with this group on the floor where you had an option to really limit the Wheaton offense. Now you go back and you've got two guys who can create their own offense in a dome and Cruikshank.
Yeah, the Thunder really only working with one, major kind of create your own offense, can do it himself sort of guy with the dome, and now you bring Cruikshank back in.
Well, now Millikin's in some trouble too. A stick note picked up 2 fouls in 1 second, and he's going to check out with 4 fouls, 5 already on the big blue.
That brings DeMarcus Bond back in the game, number 5, and that's put up by a dome and then tipped out, and the rebound is kept by the Thunder. Williams corralling the ball.
Nice job by Schiavallo. Held his ground, offensive rebound, and then he gets another one. Hey, we talked about it earlier. He's going to travel there, and that's okay, though. That's how you get on the floor as a freshman. You've got to go do the dirty things. You've got to clean the floor as often as possible. He just tumbles out of bounds there, but you buy yourself a shot there, you almost buy yourself another one.
You can see the Thunder bench getting hyped for that one. Just the hustle plays that we love to see. The freshman Schiavallo.
Well, that's a bad matchup if you're Wheaton.
Nice little fake from Hampton. Now kicks it out. Gowan with an open look from 3, but just still can't get it to go. The issues that Millikin is having from long ranges. That's a nice find. Just easy and waits and gets hit. A defender over the back.
I think Calvin Fisher is going to be pretty fortunate he didn't get it an intentional there.
Yeah, it looked like he gave a little extra as he kind of fell down over the back of Anthony.
You're in a bad spot there because you're coming down on top of somebody, so it's always going to look worse. But Fisher ends up with that foul because he didn't get back on defense initially, and Luke Anthony sprinted his butt off down the floor and just beat everybody down there. That's the 3rd foul on Fisher.
And Fisher was going to be a key part of this, I think, this bid for a comeback here from Millikin. We were talking about Fisher, talking about Lawrence going to be important. Haven't really seen much of Lawrence at all. As Anthony takes his 2nd of 2, and that one's good.
And full timeout here for Mike Schauer. I'm not sure what. I know obviously Wheaton wanted the intentional foul. I'm not sure if something was said on the bench, but Coach Schauer turned around and had some pretty sharp words for his own bench there following that foul. I'm not sure if this is just an opportunity to kind of, hey, here's why things need to level off, or this is an opportunity to say, hey, we've kind of been hanging around here. Let's put these guys away and start looking towards the semifinals. As we look around the conference, Elmhurst is doing just that with Carroll. Jay Militello taking over for the Blue Jays, 21 points to lead Elmhurst. They lead by 19 over at R.A. Fagino Hall in Elmhurst. Illinois Wesleyan up 13, 52-39 against North Park. And Carthage and Augie, that game's kind of been within 5 the entire way. Right now it's Carthage on the road with a 2-point lead. The winner of that game would presumptively come here if the score holds. That game being on Tuesday here at King Arena.
And the Thunder with a much more recent matchup against Carthage. We talked about in the first half how if it was Augustana, Thunder haven't played them since the first game of the season.
Yeah, if I'm Wheaton, I want Augustana because that's a Carthage team that, boy, when they're clicking, they've got matchup problems. Bulatovic really handles, I mean, he's a matchup problem. He can score. You've got the big man, Sean Johnson, that can do unique things at that size. Whereas Augustana is a team that you kind of match up better with because they don't have that kind of size or instant offense. They're just a good team.
Millikin now on the offensive, trying to cut in this lead just a little bit, and that's going to be a travel. That's not what you want to see, a turnover for Millikin. They do have the worst turnover margin in the league, -3 on average per game. But yeah, if you're going to be trying to cut into this, what is still a significant deficit, turning the ball over is not what you want to see.
No, you can't have empty possessions.
Brought up by Crookshank. Over to you, Vegas. Crookshank with the 3, and that is good from Crookshank. Just an absolute dagger to put the Thunder back up by 21.
Well, that can be a spirit breaker too, because there's kind of these invisible barriers when you're playing from behind that when it gets above, it really breaks you. And they've kept it at 20 a couple of times. It's the first time we've seen it go above at 21, and that can, boy, you look up and you see that can really break you down.
And Hampton finally the damn burst for the 3-point from the 3-point line for Millikin, hitting their first
13 before that one.
Yeah, that's a big answer. I mean, they've been just shooting them and weren't getting them to go in this second half. And then, yeah, you have Crookshank burying that one, and that's a nice little move, and the ball hangs on the rim for a second.
Really good action there to open that up for Andrew Williams. Just a tough angle to finish, and he's going to be called for the foul. Be refreshing for Wheaton to see just a 1 go up next to somebody's name in the foul column. That's just the first for Williams.
Yeah.
All right, you've got the score, you've got the stop for Millikin, now you've got to string that third one together.
Yeah, and more importantly, the 3 finally maybe giving them some hope that they can make something happen from the 3-point line, and now it's Hampton stopping. He's going to take another 3, and he hits it, so.
It's the same set they ran the last time down, and almost the exact same move, dribble, step back 3. Tip your cap, but now Millikin, you see the defensively picking up a little bit for the Big Blue here.
Yeah, you can see the energy just immediately off of those 2 threes from Hampton, who's now 2 for 5, so he's the guy to go to, it seems like, from the 3-point line, and now getting right to the hoop, the freshman, Nick Schiavallo.
Nate Chiavello doing a great job. Put it on the floor, be assertive, go get your shot, young fella. Good minutes from the freshman.
Ingram, some life here from Millikin with 2 back-to-back threes. Their first of the game. To Ingram now, down low for Fisher. Nice handoff to Gowan, who gets stripped, I think, by a dome. Went up without the ball, unfortunately. Now Vegas hands it off to Crookshank.
Now Crookshank down the lane, and he gets fouled. So we talked about Chiavello doing it on the defensive end, but that time an assertive take, slower run. You don't look at buckets when the spread's at 15 as big buckets. That's a big one for a freshman. Nate Chiavello had struggled to find the scoring column, but he's giving you good energy minutes, and that time he takes it assertively at Calvin Fisher and gets you 2. And now Wheaton will come back with Alioth and Anthony. Stick note back into the game for Millikin, so he's got the 4 fouls, but he's kind of been the guy that's helped. He's been their glue guy so far. Crookshank splits the pair.
Fisher gets it to Ingram, who's going to be quarterbacking the play for this drive. And now it's up to Gowan. Gowan drives straight in and finds some space and gets that one to go.
Really good take, man. Gowan's been good.
Dome sizing up Ingram to Vegas. Crookshank to Alioth. Alioth with 3 fouls. We'll get a whistle here, so Alioth has to stop. Oh, it just looks like a little shove from Gowan on Crookshank. That'll send Crookshank back to the line to shoot a pair. First one is good.
Yeah, we mentioned Wheaton has been surprisingly below par at the free throw line. Crookshank's kind of in that category. 48% from 3, just 68% at the free throw line as he makes 3 of 4 in that stretch.
We'll get a timeout called. Thunder shooting okay from the, actually very well from the free throw line this game, 15 for 17. So over and above their average on the season. Millikin 9 for 11. So the Thunder up by 18, 10 minutes to go in this second half. They've extended their lead to around 18-21 throughout this second half. Saw some life for Millikin in these last few drives with a few threes from them, but just not able to really make a sizable dent into this lead for the Thunder, and time is starting to definitely run out on their hopes here.
Well, the biggest thing that they haven't been able to do is they haven't been able to string scores and stops. And you've got to get what's called kills. You've got to be able to get 3 stops in a row. And when you do that, you've also got to be able to score on it. And they just haven't been able to, when they've got those stops, because they had that run where they really had slowed Wheaton down at the end of the first half. They weren't really able to close the gap enough. And they haven't been able to take advantage with matchups when Wheaton's had their bigs off the floor. And so at this point now, you've entered the danger zone where you're at the 10-minute mark. You've got to start breaking the game up a little bit. By the 6-minute mark, you've got to have this thing down to 12.
Yeah.
And then you kind of continue to chunk the game, but then you got to get from 12 to probably 8 in the next 3 minutes. So you just got to kind of give yourself chances here, but the math is getting hard, especially if they can't get stops.
And we'll see what they can do if they can get in that range. Now it's Gowan, it's Hampton, excuse me, again with that was a heat check 3, I would say for sure. Heavily covered and takes a long 3 and drills it.
If you can get him to that spot every time.
Yeah, it was the same spot.
He's got something going on there.
Crookshank looks to answer. Oh, it just rims out, and okay, a little bit of life again now for Millikin. Hampton's been the guy.
Run him off that spot.
Right there, that's the spot right there where that was, I think, Fisher getting it. See if he runs over to that spot. Now it's Gowan, puts it up. Maybe thought about a call there on Alioth, but didn't get it.
Yeah, the ball's got to be reversed. You've got to make the defense work. The ball never saw the other side of the floor, and that lets the defense get away with some things, and it leads to a contested jumper.
Dome just takes it himself. Call going to be on Fisher there, which is kind of interesting. It didn't look like he really even touched a Dome at all. I thought the call was going to go on Hampton as he reached in, but...
And that is 4 on Fisher.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that replay again. It didn't look like Fisher really had much to do with that, but nevertheless...
He would agree with you by the way he's reacting.
Yeah, let's see here.
Fisher's on the block.
Because you get the reach in there from Hampton, and then...
I think the foul happened before Fisher ever reached.
Yeah.
So that is poorly given by the officiating crew.
And as you said, that puts Fisher up to 4, so that is actually a very integral foul, key foul.
Fisher's reach is really a throwaway because the foul's already happened.
Exactly.
All he's doing is just kind of making sure that he doesn't see the ball go in.
Gowan releases. If it hasn't been Hampton, it hasn't been going in from 3. For Millikin, the ball is found by Alioth, and now the Thunder bring it up. This is Crookshank to a Dome. A Dome's been a little bit quiet in these last few minutes, but still leading the way, leading the charge with 24 points. Now driving, and he'll draw a foul, I think, on Gowan on the defensive end.
Yeah, really smart feel by Luke Anthony. They go fly by to prevent the 3, but then he sees the lane open up, and it's just a good give and go. Defense is out of position because of it. 2 shots for Luke Anthony.
Anthony heads to the line. Gets the first to go. Anthony is now 3 for 3 from the free throw line. 8 points on the night. Relatively quiet in comparison to the last game where he had 28, but giving the team what it needs. Now still up to 19.
Yeah, just 2 guys in double figures for the Thunder. It's a Dome with 24. Only 5 of those so far in the second half, and Cruikshank with 10.
Fisher with a tough shot, and Alioth swoops in to find the rebound. So yeah, as we've mentioned, just for Millikin, unable to find those even consecutive baskets. It'll be one drive and they'll hit a 3, but then they'll go quiet for another 2 possessions as the Dome just steps back. Doesn't complete the play, but nice move to find some separation, although the 3 doesn't go. Now it's Gowan working on a Dome. Gowan cuts inside, works on Alioth, and can't get it to go through the contact.
And Gowan kind of gave up on the jump because of the contact. If he gives a stronger jump, I think he draws that foul, but it looked a little lethargic on the jump, and so Alioth gets away with the contact. And then gets his first 2 points on the other end.
Made that look easy, too. Just dribbled right around. I think that was the defender Fisher on that play.
Well, Fisher's got 4, so he can't really give you much there in terms of resistance. And now a Millikin timeout with 7:38 to go.
And that's just more of the effects of that call that we saw that probably should have gone on Hampton, but ended up being charged to Fisher, giving him 4.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you probably get a much heavier contest if that foul is not on Fisher the possession before.
Yeah, Sticknote and Fisher, the leading scorers throughout this season for Millikin, both with 4 fouls. That's definitely been I think both teams have kind of been in foul trouble with some of their key players, and Millikin hasn't been able to exploit really that we've seen the foul trouble that the Thunder have been in with Alioth and Hawkins with 3.
And hey, it's the advantage of being the 1 in a 1-8 matchup, is that you're not going to have a team that can match you across the floor very often when you get into these matchups like this. So we'll tell you that they haven't played their best game, and I think they're going to have to address the foul trouble, undoubtedly, but you get away with it when you're able to control matchups in a 1-8 like this.
Yeah, and that Carthage-Augustina game still incredibly close, 75-74 with 4 minutes to go in the second half, so that's just really still a toss-up as to who the Thunder are probably going to meet.
Well, yeah, now Washburn's taken over for Carthage. He's got about 12 points in the last, I'd say, 5 minutes. He's got 7 3-pointers. That's what I'm talking about. If you're Wheaton, you want Augustana because they're more of a traditional matchup, but Carthage has guys that can just score in bunches.
We got Lawrence back in the game for Millikin now. Hampton from his spot. He takes it from his spot. If he was going to get the ball there, he was going to shoot it, and he did.
Yeah, that's a great job. Vegas didn't give him room that time. He closed in the shooting pocket.
Meanwhile, Hawkins back in the game. That's an air ball. More of a pass, really, in the end to Cruikshank, who finishes.
Cruikshank does such a nice job of reading angles. He's a smaller guard, but you see his rebound totals are up there among the leaders. But he just reads shots really well. That time he's in position to get the air ball and put it right back up.
So Sticknote and Lawrence back in the game. That is a very questionable pass from Hampton. Had really no chance of getting to Lawrence. A Dome for 3. Good!
Well, this could get out of hand in a hurry now. Leads at 26, and
I'd say it's out of hand at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you fought so hard to keep it within the
kind
10
of
to 20
manageable
range. Yeah, that once you realize that that's out the window, it can go downhill in a hurry.
Yeah, with 26, we were talking they might need to get it to 12 at around the 6-minute mark. That's where we're at, and it's just been extended even further by the Thunder.
Well, now if you're Mike Schauer, you figure you've got another 2.5 minutes before you start getting guys off the floor and resting them up for that game on Tuesday in the semifinals. Is a nice job by Cruikshank again in good defensive position, gets a rebound, and he'll walk the other way for 2 free throws.
Yeah, so Thunder just looking to wrap this one up. Finish strong, yeah.
Carthage-Augie, the only competitive game, Illinois Wesleyan has pulled ahead 65-48 over North Park with 4 minutes to go, so they're going to avenge that loss in Chicago, which, again, we talked at the top. That was going to be pretty hard to replicate. I think part of that's being the home team. They had a ridiculous finish of shot making in that game to go get it, to get that win over then number 2 Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah,
would have been interesting to see, had that not gone that way, how the conference would have handled having 2 teams undefeated that hadn't played each other.
Yeah.
As far as assessing the one seed, and you would assume Wheaton would get that, given that they've played 10 games to I think what would have been 6 for Illinois Wesleyan, but they still won those 6. I mean,
right.
It's hard to it's hard to figure out how you weight that.
Yeah, it's kind of been a struggle the whole season, both on the men's and women's side of things, just really assessing teams that haven't been playing that many games, or even in the games that they have played, when they play them against like the same team over and over. Like when you're coming in, this team's played 6 games and 4 of them are against the same team. Like, how do you really assess the strength? It's, you know, it's hard to assess for the teams going in. It's hard to assess for the like D3 hoops looking to rank teams as well.
Right, it's essentially the problem the Big Ten has had, is it had Michigan not won. I mean, you can turn to winning percentage, but Michigan playing 4 fewer games than in Illinois in second. Is how do you justify that if things are close? Now, fortunately, Michigan has kind of been able to keep that leverage and not really make it close to bring it into the account, but
right.
It's a whole different thing when both teams are even, but there's just not the same number of games played.
Right. I mean, and you have that in a regular season even, you know, people with how difficult it is to assess teams when teams are even playing the same number of games, whereas now it's just so much harder with these weird schedules as Crookshank takes a deep 3. Rebound is found by Alioth. He's working on Lawrence, spins, gets underneath, and gets it up and in.
Great patience there. Keep stepping, find your room. Katie Alioth's given them really good minutes in the second half. I mean, he only played about 5 minutes in the first half. He's been in foul trouble. He's only got the 4 points, but he's had good defensive position. He's given them the rebounding we're used to seeing, which is hard to do when you've missed so much time in the half, as Fisher hits a 3.
Finally, Fisher connects from deep. It's his first 3 of the game. Joins Hampton, and having, you know, made a 3 this game, it's been difficult to find for Millikin throughout. Now it's Uvegis. Alioth hands it to Crookshank, thinks about it. Now goes back down to Alioth, who immediately gets double teamed, goes back to Crookshank, who takes the 3 off the front of the rim, swiped at by Sticknote, and it falls to a dome.
It's a good reset. Just a little bit of a hitch there for Crookshank. Not sure, that's not the fluid shot we're used to seeing from him.
Alioth hands it to Crookshank. Just swoops by his defender, and that was kind of nasty, using his speed to get right to the hoop. Just blows by number 5. That's DeMarcus Bond.
Well, DeMarcus Bond has 4 fouls now too, so you're running out of places where guys can give you something of resistance.
And as you said, looking around the league, just it seems like it's really been a story of the higher seeds handling business, doing what they need to do. 72-49 lead for Elmhurst, and then Illinois Wesleyan really kind of pulling away 67-49.
Well, and Carthage now has the largest lead of the game that I've seen from either team at 6. 2.5 minutes to go, so.
And I believe that's the 4-5 matchup, so it makes sense. That would be the closest one that we'd see.
So you'll have Wheaton against the winner of that game, and then it'll be Elmhurst against Illinois Wesleyan down in Bloomington in the other semi. Again, the championship game will be next Friday night. High seed will continue to host. As you did see Considine and Williams check in there for a Dome and Alioth. So Wheaton starting to get their main guys off the floor. Gavin Hawkins is going to take a seat now with his 5th foul. I was going to say, Alioth was getting ready to come back in, and if Chevelle is giving you good enough minutes, let the freshman go learn. You've got this game in hand. You don't need to risk anything with Alioth, and sure enough, Schauer tells the senior to go sit down and sends in the freshman.
And this goes to Atkinwumi, who makes his first bucket of the game. He hasn't seen much of him throughout.
No, that's the play that we've seen him find some notoriety in this conference, though, is that little inbound lob. He's thrown down a couple on people's heads. And Chevelle knew the scouting report was with him. I don't know that the pass was really there where he could finish, but does a nice job staying composed and getting his 2.
Crookshank now at the line. Makes the first of 2. 26-point lead for the Thunder. This will be, I believe, the largest victory the Thunder will have against this Millikin team. Especially since one of them, was pretty close. 9-point win for the Thunder early on in the season. This is handed off to Hampton. Finds a little close to his spot. Maybe not close enough since he misses. If it hasn't been at his spot, it's been a little tougher, but saw him drill a couple from there. Now Chevello over to Uvegis. Got a whistle away from the play.
Well, this has kind of been more of what we've seen from Wheaton down the stretch. Their last 3 games, they won by 35 at Carroll. Now, granted, they took advantage of Carroll for 2 of those. 35 at Carroll, 26 home against Carroll, and the 6-point win against North Central game that they led by double digits for most of.
Crookshank hits this second. Seen a lot from him from the line tonight as Eddie Scott, the sophomore, checks in for Crookshank. So, yeah, Thunder switch into this predominantly sophomore freshman lineup. It's Javello, Eddie Scott, Andrew Williams. See what they can do against this Millikin lineup. It's Sticknote with it now. He's able to find Ingram. Ingram, crafty little play, can't get it to go though. Now running the court and passing it to Uvegas is Considine. Now Williams with Ingram on him. Uvegas. Chavello. Scott. Drops it for Uvegas. Time running out on this shot clock. Scott with the ball with 4 seconds. Pulls up, takes the 2, no good. Rebound collected by Fisher and given to Ingram, who heads up court with it.
Worth noting, Augie back within 2 with 1:20 to go.
Down low for Fisher, working one-on-one, goes over top, little short. Ball is found by Considine.
And a timeout as they're going to get some other guys in the game here as well.
It's 23, Blake Foley for the Thunder checking in. And number 32, Daniel Garza as well.
So you'll see Garza, Foley, Williams, Scott, and Chavello in the game.
Brought up by the freshman Chavello. Handed to Williams. Now it's Garza. Nice find to Eddie Scott. That's a great sync up there for the quick 2.
That's good action there. Eddie Scott sees the overplay. Quick back cut. Really nice find.
It's Hampton. Garza on him. Looks for a screen, maybe gets around his defender Garza. Nice high rising shot, doesn't go. Now found by Williams. Williams gonna dribble it over to the sideline.
Yeah, another substitution timeout. Prince Akko into the game along with Nate Sock. So Williams off. We're probably gonna see Chavello off. Nope, yep, Chavello comes off as well. Millikin's gonna empty their bench as well with a line change.
Yeah, Nate Sock, the freshman, entering the game. Prince Akko, a sophomore.
Boy, Carter Dua just tied it for Augustana with 45 seconds left. I tell you what, among the new guys in the conference, Carter Dua is going to be a problem at Augustana. We saw it. He jumped Augustana in his first game. He gave them a spark off the bench. He's got 24. He's moved into the starting lineup for the Vikings. He's a bucket. He's going to be very, very good in the CCIW.
So you see these bench lineups basically go at it in this final minute and a half. It's 32 Beardsley now down low.
Ooh,
that's a nice block. Is that Eddie Scott on the block there?
Came out of nowhere, too. Didn't see him, but he's right where he needed to be for the help spot. And then elevated.
Yeah, seen a few nice plays from him, the block, and then the nice feed, and now takes a 3.
I don't know that Trey Griffey saw him either. He went up for a layup thinking no one was there.
This is Schaefer now with Garza on him. Moves it outside, and we're going to get a whistle.
A couple more subs coming in from Millikin. You're going to see Noah Newton and Brian Lamar into the game.
Yep, 2 freshmen subs entering the game for Millikin as we're now under a minute to play, so just a few more possessions. 1 or 2, Brian Lamar with it. Drops it in. Now one-on-one, nice little really poke free by Scott again.
And then a miscommunication between him and Garza as to who was going to go get the ball. Eddie Scott's getting
He's
after
all over it. He is.
Good minutes here from Eddie Scott to close this thing out.
Yeah, showing what he can do against this lineup. Now Scott feeling it a little bit. Tries to go inside, ball is tipped away, and looks like they're going to say that win off of number 23 for the Thunder, Blake Foley.
So final in Bloomington, Illinois Wesleyan 75-55 over North Park. Elmhurst by 20 over Carroll with 4:20 to play, and then 15 seconds left. Augustana calls timeout. They've got the ball, so they will have the last shot at a win at home against Carthage.
Yeah, 81-81 tie there, so going right down to the wire. This game with 13 seconds is not going to go down to the wire, as that's a mid-range two connected by Lucas Schaefer. And Thunder just going to dribble this one out, and we're going to take this victory 81-53 over Millikin, advance to play the winner of Augustana versus Carthage in the semifinal on Tuesday, March 9th. We'll send it down to the court for a post-game interview with Rusty Lindsay and the head coach of the Wheaton Thunder.
Joined here with head coach Mike Schauer. Coach, your team kind of blitzed them right out of the gate, set the tone. How big was that coming out, getting a big lead early, and he never really let that one slide after that?
Yeah, it was actually, you'll find this, I was pretty anxious about tonight. Not for the biggest reason is we'd played one game in 13 days. And then, Rusty, I've done this a long time. I have never had to figure out how to get my team prepared for a game after we've quarantined, right? That's not in my 30-year experience. So we had a lot of guys that didn't do much really from Thursday's game against North Central until Wednesday, because we really didn't do much Friday and we didn't play Saturday. And so I was a little anxious kind of what our energy level would be like. And I actually think in a weird way the foul trouble helped us a little bit, because it forced me to play a lot of guys. And really the only guys that got extended very much tonight were probably Tyson and Namie were the two that got extended a little bit. But I was just anxious, really pleased with my team. And we're just trying to sort of realize that we're not guaranteed another one. So let's enjoy this moment. Let's not worry about, conference quarterfinals or national rankings or any of that stuff. We just knew we get to play today. And so, even this time of year, even the more than playing well is to test negative. So we're going to, hopefully we'll get to play again. But thankful for my guys. I thought we gave a pretty gutty effort.
Yeah, how has this season, really the season as a whole, kind of helped you to appreciate the immediacy of each game and not have to worry about getting ready for the next one or what comes next? Kind of turn the program inward a little bit and enjoy each moment.
Absolutely, and it's actually been good for me. After 28 years, to not get to do it and then to start to think, this might be it, right? You never know. It does make it a little more precious and has actually motivated me. I think we've had a huge advantage. We're obviously talented, but we're also really veteran. And so we're not as easily swayed by the uncertainty of it. When we can practice, we practice. When we play. And I think it's really valuable to have an older team in this type of season. I think Division I is showing that too. If you have an older team, you have a little bit of an advantage because they're just not as emotionally up and down as a younger team. So excited. Hopefully we get to play Tuesday, right? We're just going to kind of keep trucking along here and thankful to play this one and hopefully keep going.
Mike, congrats on the win. Hopefully we'll see you Tuesday. Again, a convincing victory for the Thunder here tonight, 81-53. Right now, the game scheduled for the semifinals on Tuesday night here at King Arena between the winner of Carthage and Augustana. Complete stats from this game and a recap will be available shortly on the Wheaton Athletics page. For John Mark Mills, I'm Rusty Lindsay, our great production crew with Sunrise Communications. Thanks for joining us here today.